these Fulani people that live in the villages, what the thing is, once you are born and you are smart, the first thing you will know are those cows. Your father's cows, you will know them. Those are the only things that you have. That's why when their cows need food, they can go to the end of the world just to find the food. But then there came about the issue of cattle rustling, which their cattle were taken, and then their siblings were killed. So these people now had guns that they were using while grazing. So they now started using their guns for doing criminal activities. So I believe this RUGA settlement is a way of compensation, and it will bring about peace, more peace, because if you have a job, I don't see any reason why you'll go and kidnap anybody.
Yes.
And then at the same time, I read it somewhere that this RUGA settlement will employ at least 2,000 people. So, and there's going to be 6 in each state that accepts it. So assuming each state in Nigeria accepts the RUGA settlement, we are having a space for 500,000 people, which includes doctors, teachers, all over. Everyone will get a job.
Right.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is basically when these RUGA settlements are being made,
Yeah.
is it the Fulani people that will get employed or the people in the states that
the
are going to get
communities.
employed? Because these Fulani people, you have Fulanis from Adamawa moving to Enugu to graze. So is it people from Adamawa that will go to Enugu and work, or is it people from Enugu that are going to work in the RUGAs?
You know, one thing that has not even been made clear is that this RUGA program is not restricted to Fulani people. But normally in Nigeria, when you see a cow, it's like you've seen a Fulani person.
Yes.
So that's the basic assumption. But the RUGA settlement, you are allowed to come and invest. Even if you're Yoruba, Igbo, you can go and keep your cattle there. And I believe the government was even very soft about it for making it a voluntary program.
Yes.
Because it's just like saying that, okay, the Kano state government or the Kaduna state government can say they don't want the Igbos in their markets. They want their people to go and trade over there where the Igbos are occupying, which is not possible.
Yes.
If you go to Kano, you will see plenty Igbo people. So why is there so much problem with Fulani people? Are they not Nigerians?
They are.
Yes,
Now,
but
the
we
question that was actually coming to my mind was that Land Use Act, a federal government act, 1979, and updated variously, is one area that people are very quiet about. We know federal government owns every land.
Yes.
And then at the same time, the people who also are indigenous of the area have a great say over what happens to the land because they use it for survival. Now, in land sharing, you understand me? And then, how do I call it? You also, the use of your environment to your advantage is another thing entirely. Now, for instance, the people who have been known to be farmers in a particular place for a long time, you understand me? And then they practice the traditional way of what we call shifting cultivation and all that, and bush fallow. After a while, when they become, when they discover that lands are no longer enough, and then you have, people grazing with their cattle. Now and then there's at this moment there's a fight over who takes over land or whatever. There's always a conflict over land. Now, what in your own viewpoint is the best way to sort these things out? Now, because land has become a gold mine in this sense, because they need it for grazing, they also need it for crops. Now, how do you think that can be sorted out?
You see, last year, what I read, and I believe there is more to it, it says that we had 2,000 deaths as a result of cattle rearers, farmers headers clash. So I think this is a pressing issue that needs to be dealt with. Each state in Nigeria, we have farmers. And I believe each state in Nigeria, we have herders. So the best thing to do is to find a solution while we still can. These people, they have their cows, they need to feed their cows. You have your farm, you need your crops to grow, and you sell it or you keep it. So nobody wants to make a loss. But over these incidents, we have had loss of lives, we have had loss of properties. So many bad things are happening over this. It's simple. Let's say in Kaduna State, we have a place where you have RUGA. You keep your people come, they keep their cows, both people from all over, and then the Fulanis as well. The government proposed that there is going to be schools inside these RUGAs, there is going to be hospitals, and there is going to be electricity and all the important things you need.
So basically, the RUGA is a
small village.
Small village.
Yeah, more like a small village.
So how will it affect, when you speak about Fulani, we have Fulani from Mali, Sudan, Niger, all coming down to maybe, let's say, Port Harcourt, cross river, Sokoto to graze their cattle. So how do you address the issue of non-Nigerians that come into Nigerians?
Yeah, I understand the perspective people are looking at it when they talk about non-Nigerians. Well, what I believe is, if your problem is that non-Nigerians are going to benefit from the RUGA program, then you can suggest a way to the government that, okay, there should be proper vetting, which I believe is in the plan. There is going to be proper vetting of access to the RUGA. And once you are vetted, you have access to your RUGA, you will be given your RUGA number, your cows will be tagged, and any problem can be traced back to your RUGA, and you can be held responsible for anything you cause. And if you are found with cows outside a RUGA and the state has accepted RUGA, then you can be prosecuted.
Don't you think there's a visionary problem in governance in Nigeria? As I remember as a little boy, I was privileged to stay, visit the village, stay for quite weeks, months, and with my grandparents, especially my granddad, and we used to have Fulani settlements come around to pay visit and homage to my granddad, who was a local chief then, and then there was a lot of harmonious existence. Before they pass through where we live, our community, they seek the consent of the elders of my community, and they talk to my late granddad. Way back, I was a little boy then. Sometime I also go as far as probably how do I call it, interpret to them, because they spoke in Hausa. And but that time, the level of grazing was not much. You understand me? Now, over the years, the number of people grazing became much. The population of Nigerians increased. Now, at that time, right now, the population of Nigeria is numbering over 170 million. Over 170 million. We're talking about a time that Nigeria was not up to 100 million. And the land has not increased in size. You understand me? And they are not reclaiming the land. You understand me? So don't you think there has been a problem of vision, preparing for the future? Number of people increasing, number of farmers, number of grazing, herdsmen increasing who have to take their cattle from one point to the other. Don't you think there's a problem of